Hey guys, Jim here. We're going to do something a little crazy today. We're going to welcome you into a world of absurdity where things just don't make any sense and we don't give a shit because it's fun. Now I want you to take all practical realities of tactical knives out of your head just for a few minutes. We're going to practice that whole suspension of belief thing. What we're going to experience now is a world debut thanks to BladeHQ and Microtech. And BladeHQ was kind enough to send this out to me and let me do this video before anybody got a chance to really see these. This is a really cool, crazy-ass knife that Microtech's going to be making exclusively for BladeHQ. So if you want to buy one of these, you're going to have to go to BladeHQ.com to pick it up. Now, we're used to seeing some really wild stuff out of Microtech and Tony Marfione. A few years ago, Tony made a full custom knife. He only made it that way. There was no production version. It was called the Venom. Now, most of us don't remember that knife because it was very limited. They didn't last long. People bought them up really, really quickly. What he's done now for BladeHQ exclusively is made a production version that they're dubbing the VenomTech. You might be looking at this going, well, it just looks like an Ultratech. Well, that's really what it is. When you look at this, this is an Ultratech. You might be wondering, well, why is there no clip, and what's up with the cool Kydex Sheath? Well, first off, it gives you a great carry option. Since you don't have a clip, that's about the only way that you're going to be able to carry it is in this Kydex. But really, more so than anything, like a well-placed condom, this Kydex is here for your protection. Because this Ultratech is not your standard Ultratech. First off, you're going to see a brand new logo that we've not seen before. But the biggest thing is what that logo represents. Yes, that is 2 inches of exposed blade tip. Oh yeah, come on baby, just the tip. You know I'll be good with it. Come on, it's been a long time. This is one of the craziest damn creations I've ever seen. So what you've got here is the compact carry package of an Ultratech with an impractical 2 inches hanging out the front, and the whole thing is sharp. The tip is needle-like sharp. The edges are, of course, very, very sharp. And this is one of the sharpest Microtechs I've had a chance to play with. So, yeah, it's really, really crazy. You've got the skull breaker on the end. And here are the dimensions when you have it like this. You're looking at a 5-inch Ultratech handle. That's without counting in the skull cracker. Now, what you've got overall is a 5.5-inch blade stuffed into the 5-inch handle. Now, it's not going to retract full 5 inches in there because of all the internal workings. So what you're really getting is 3.5 inches will be taken into the handle, and they leave 2 inches hanging out. Your overall length is 10.5 inches when you count in the skull breaker. Now, to give you some size comparisons, put up next to my Marfione Custom DOC, which is a big folding knife. It is not a tiny knife. And as you see, it dwarfs my wonderful DOC. Now, here it is up against the reigning king, which is the Halo 5 to be precise. It is pretty much the same dimensions as a Halo 5 as far as the length goes when you count in the skull breaker. It's slimmer, it's lighter weight, and it's probably easier to carry than the big old single action Halo. Because you do have the nice option of it being double action. I have no clear idea as to why this knife was made. Why they would make something that would leave 2 inches exposed. But who gives a shit? It is really, really cool. When Jake from BladeHQ first told me about it, I'm like, no, really? That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard of. And he says, you know, it is, and that's what makes it cool. It's unlike anything else out there. And he sends it to me, and I open the box, and like a giddy little child, I tear into the box. And when I pulled this out of the sheath, I was like, holy shit, this is probably one of the most dangerous things I've ever had in my hands. But if used properly with the Kydex Sheath, I don't think you're going to have any issues, obviously. And I got to tell you, it is really impressive to take a knife that really fits nicely in the palm of your hand, open it up, and have such a huge extension. This is like the world's largest letter opener. This is like holding a little mini sword in your hands. It's crazy. And without the expense of a Halo 5, without the weight of a Halo 5, and possibly being even more impractical. Now, I've made a video about my Halo 5, you guys know that. I love the knife. I do call it impractical, but it is still, to me, one of the coolest, fun toys that an adult can own. And I think a lot of people are going to feel the exact same way about the VenomTech. So here's a quick breakdown. You're going to get the tri-wing screws that we're accustomed to seeing, so it's a nice custom touch. One of the things I've always admired about Microtech is making everything as custom as they possibly can on a production knife. So you're getting completely customized hardware. There's good and bad to it. There's good because, well, it really does make it look really, really cool, but it's not very user serviceable or user friendly. Now, there's two things about that. One, you could fashion a tool to fit that, or two, you could simply buy the tri-wing tool from any dealer. But really the main thing is you don't really want to go opening up an out-the-front automatic anyway. Unless you've had specific training, you know what the hell you're doing in there. You're going to get this thing apart and you're going to be shipping it back in pieces to Microtech, asking them to reassemble it for you. So please do keep that in mind. One of the things that the Microtech out the fronts have been known for is their quality and their durability. You know, there have been a lot of out the front automatics, and most of them, I don't want to say most of them, but a very large percentage of them have been crap. They don't, you know, function reliably. They don't have any degree of toughness to them. And while you are going to get obviously some blade play in any out the front automatic, you have a lot less in a Microtech than almost any other out the front that exists, especially in their price range. The other thing is we've seen numerous tests on YouTube, people taking their Ultratechs and Troodons and Scarabs and having them open and stabbing them into wood, into tree trunks, into steel barrels, all kinds of crazy shit to show that they have a very reliable nature. They're not just going to collapse into the handle or break the blades. Now, obviously, there's going to be practical limitations to that, but over and above all the competition, they are really, really strong and really well made. I don't think that this is the kind of thing that I want to go stabbing into a hard and movable object, but when you look at the blade shapes, especially in the double-edged variations like this, you know, this is really meant to be a stabbing kind of tool. This is a self-defense tool, period. There's no way around it. There's no practical need for this. You're not going to go whittling with it. You're not going to be cutting very many things with this. This is really, in my opinion, the majority of the Microtech knives are made for secondary self-defense weapons. They're not really a tool per se. We have a lot of knives, you know, that we have in our collections that really are tools that, of course, could be used for self-defense. But in my opinion, when you're carrying a Microtech, you're carrying a self-defense weapon, period. And this really is about as mean and aggressive as you're going to get. Just having that exposed 2 inches right there, I mean, it just tells you from the beginning that this thing, it means business. It is there to hurt somebody, hopefully not the owner of the knife. I haven't really played with the, as far as the sharpness goes, by slicing paper or anything. I guess I could. I have some paper just kind of sitting here. We know there have been some ups and downs. It's a little bit of a snag there. But overall, really good performance. There have been some ups and downs in production Microtechs as far as sharpness out of the box goes. The customs you really never have to worry about with, but I think that's certainly wonderfully sharp for what you're getting. It is a double-edged knife, so please do keep that in mind. Both of these edges are sharp. This tip is ridiculous. It is absolutely like a needle. And when you go to use the sheath, you want to keep in mind it only goes in one way. It's not going to go in the opposite way, so just be as careful as you can doing that. So there it is, all sheathed up. There is a little bit of paracord. Obviously, if you're going to use this as a neck knife, you're going to replace this with a longer cord on it. I just think it's an overall cool package. This is not going to be the knife that you're going to retire all of your other EDC knives with. It's not going to be an everyday carry for you as far as a primary. This is going to be a great backup, again, hanging around your neck. It's really going to be a showpiece. It's going to be, hey, look what I've got. And when you pull this thing out and you show people that the blade is so big that it cannot be retracted fully into the handle, they're just going to go, holy shit, that is crazy. That is wild. And that is precisely what this is. It is the wild child in the Microtech lineup. It is dropping on the 24th. That's why I've had to wait and kind of delay the release of this video to coincide with the world debut at BladeHQ.com. You guys know I love BladeHQ. They've got great value. They've got an incredible selection. And they deal with pretty much everything from your little inexpensive $10, $15 trinket knives into really good production knives and even into full customs. So you've always got a breadth of assortment there on their website. They're always fair with their pricing. They're one of the very few dealers that pretty much anything that you look at there, you know you're getting the right price. And the customer service is phenomenal. I bought a lot of knives from BladeHQ. I've been handled fantastically. Even before I had a YouTube channel and people kind of started, recognizing my name when I placed an order. No preferential treatment there, just being good to the average everyday customer. And, there's something to be said for that. So I think it's a great choice that Tony made to partner up with BladeHQ to do this. It's a great way to release it. Let me show you the blade in its entirety. This particular variation is going to be all stone-washed. You have the VenomTech logo right there toward the tip, and that will always be exposed because right about there is where the handle is, so that will always be exposed. The Microtech name right down there. Very, 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 very long fuller with the holes right there. Now they usually mark right here on the blade what the blade steel is, and I unfortunately did not ask Jake what the blade steel was. I'm going to assume it's like S30, S35 VN. That has been pretty common for the out the fronts lately from Microtech, but I'm sure they will very clearly tell you in their descriptions. Year of release 2014. Each one will be individually numbered. This one happens to be number 97, and there is the VenomTech logo. Again with your tri-wing hardware. Very, very, very sharp skull breaker here, or glass breaker, whatever you want to call it. I call it an attitude adjuster. You push that into somebody's temple or into any soft areas of the body, and you're pretty much going to lead them wherever you want them to go. And this is the typical jimping that you would see throughout most of their out the front knives, and it's great because it gives you multiple different areas of contact depending on how you're going to be holding this knife. And if you want to hold it like this, I would suggest putting, because you can put a lanyard, a very small lanyard. You do have to take out the center of the paracord in order to do that, or get some of that really, really slim paracord to do that with. I would put a little lanyard with a knot on the end so you have something to hold on to here, because they do give you the ergonomics and the jimping to hold it here and give you even more reach, making this knife even longer in the hands. For reverse hand holds, you are going to have jimping here and here, so it's going to keep it solid in the hand. And as you see, I mean, it just stands out so far from the hand. So if you're looking for something crazy cool, looking for something your buddies don't have, you love out the front automatics, you just want to have something wild, this is probably one of the best ways you can go. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Like I said, the most fun I've ever had in an automatic is the Halo 5. But you know what? At $600 plus, that's a lot to chew on for a lot of people. And again, it is completely impractical. You cannot carry this knife. You're not going to throw it in your pocket for fear of releasing the fire button. They don't make really anything to carry it with. There are neck sheaths that are available. I have seen a couple of Tech Lock sheaths that have been made, by aftermarket companies. So it could possibly be carried in some way. But, I mean, this is a big-ass knife because even when you've retracted the blade, that entire blade is in the handle. So you have a huge, huge handle length on here. Whereas with the Ultratech, it's slimmer in both dimensions, and it's going to be a little bit easier to carry, especially once you put it, well, you have to put, you have no other way. You are only going to carry this in that sheath. Do not ever drop this in your pocket. You're going to be in for one hell of a rude awakening. So there you go, guys. There is the official debut of the Microtech and BladeHQ exclusive VenomTech. Very cool, very out there, and I pretty much expect this to be an immediate sellout. So if you're looking forward to getting one, get in on it as quickly as you humanly can. The way I understand it, this video is going to be made public on the day of release on the 24th. They may release the video a day or two earlier just to give you a heads up. I don't know. I don't have control over that. So I would say this. If you're watching the video, it's probably available right now on this date. Go grab one as quickly as you can. And with that, I'm out of here, guys. Thank you again for watching.